The Lion King has made over $2 billion on Broadway. Phantom of the Opera is over $1.3 billion. Hamilton smashed through $1 billion. And all these shows can teach you an incredibly valuable business lesson. I'm going to get to that and more in just a second. Before I do, if you're loving my podcast and the content I'm putting out, make sure to get on my email list. JohnDavids.com is where you can sign up. I send out an email every Saturday with my best stuff. People really like it. And while you're there, you can get on my socials. And if you're loving the podcast, of course, subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to it. And now let's get to the show. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the business of Broadway. What does a Broadway show cost to put on? Well, if you're starting up a new musical, it's going to run you about $10 to $20 million. These things are not cheap. And once it's in production, you're looking at about $200,000 to $500,000 every single week in operating costs. And it could be a lot more, so you better have some deep pockets behind you. Now, how does it make money? Well, the main way is through ticket sales. There's a bit of side stuff with merchandise and whatnot, but the main way that a Broadway show makes money is by selling tickets, putting the bums in the seats. So shows have 1 to 2 performances a day. Typically, theaters can hold between 500 and 1,700 people. Anything less than 500 is actually considered an off-Broadway show. That's where you hear the term off-Broadway. It's not that it's literally off the street of Broadway, it's that it has less than 500 people as the capacity. And I don't know this for sure, but I think there's like off Broadway as well, and I guess that's an even smaller amount of people. And then of course the biggest theaters have about 1,700 people. Average ticket price is about $125. So if you take 1,700 people and the average ticket price, you're looking at over $200,000 for a single performance. Not too bad. Who is getting the profits? Who's getting paid cash money? Well, first off, most shows have absolutely no profits. But assuming you're in the lucky 20% that actually generates a profit, here's how they are divvied up. Profits are divided up with 65% going to the investors, 35% going to the producers of the show, and then when the show hits a certain threshold, the producers can take up to 50% of the profits, splitting it half and half with the investors. So basically, it works exactly like a private equity fund with a whole lot more singing and dancing. Okay, what's the best case scenario of a Broadway show? Well, I can sum it up in one word: Hamilton. First off, the show Hamilton launched with unproven and really inexpensive IP, intellectual property. So it's not like The Lion King or some other Disney musical where you have to pay to license the rights. It's pretty cheap because the intellectual property is basically nothing. It's free. And zero big name stars. Lin-Manuel Miranda was a no-name at the time. I know a lot of people will disagree with me. When I said that on Twitter and LinkedIn, people were throwing stones at me. How dare you say Lin-Manuel Miranda was a no-name? Listen, I know he had some success, but he was not a household name. He was not a megastar like he is today. And having cheap IP and having no megastar as the headliner, that is two huge money savers. It was an instant hit. It was a blockbuster, grossing $1.5 million a week out of the gate. And with an operating budget of $640,000, that's a cool 42% profit. Not too shabby. So if you're going to make a Broadway show, make sure it's Hamilton. So let's talk about this now. Who is getting rich on Broadway? Who's getting filthy rich? Well, as a purebred capitalist, this is my burning question. So let's get to it. Are the performers getting rich? Not really. Not on Broadway, at least. Are the show creators getting rich? Sometimes the producers can make some healthy money. The investors? Yeah, the investors do well when a show does really well. But the biggest money makers are actually the theater owners. Check this out. There are 41 Broadway theaters, extremely limited supply, and you're not going to build any more Broadway theaters. They charge $10,000 to $20,000 of rent per week flat. Then on top of that, they take a 5% cut of box office gross or more. That's pure profit, all juice, no pulp. So even if a show is losing money for the investors, you can make a ton of money as the theater owner. And here's the best part, guys. If a show bombs and it's making no money, and so the 5% is basically not worth their time, a theater owner can pull the plug with just 2 weeks notice. So if you want to get rich on Broadway, you better own the theater. And that's not so surprising because like a lot of areas of life, if you want to do really well, just own the real estate. And you can also do pretty badly owning real estate. So watch yourself. So let's get to the valuable business lesson. And this is what really strikes me when I think about a Broadway show. So first off, full disclosure, I absolutely love Broadway. Love it. Seriously, I see a show every time I am in New York City. You drop me into town for 24 hours and I will find a ticket. I promise you. I have been to so many Broadway shows, most of them by myself because I used to go to New York a lot. I still go, but not like every other week like I used to. And honestly, if I was there for one night, what am I doing? You'll find me in one of the theaters on Broadway. I love it. But let's get past the theatrics for a second and just look at the simplicity of this business model. It's a thing of beauty. Remember how I said The Lion King has made $2 billion? That's over 26 years. It's been running for over 26 years. And the whole time, nothing has changed. It's the same show. It's the same product, done the exact same way, in the exact same place, every single day. In fact, there was a theater move one time in the last 26 years on Broadway. The Lion King has changed theaters one single time because Disney wanted to put another show in the theater, and so they moved. But that's been the biggest change to the show in over a quarter century. All right. So the actors can change, theater can change, but the customer stays the same. You can see the show 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I've seen the show 7 times myself. It doesn't matter. I still love it. $200,000 a show, rinse and repeat. That is an awesome business. But for some reason, some crazy reason, I speak to entrepreneurs who want to change their business every 26 days. It's like new products, new markets, new strategies, throwing out everything you did last quarter, starting from scratch, making it your mission to be in a constant state of flux. That's what it's like sometimes. And I get it. I really do get the impulse. I have those same impulses. But stop and think for 1 second. Just think about this. If you have an exceptional product and people really like it, you can actually keep on selling it for a very, very long time, longer than you think. It will take a very long time for people to get bored of your product if it's something that they can use over and over again. And the market is really big. There are a whole lot of buyers out there. All you have to do is just keep getting a little better every single day, and people will keep buying it. And if they're not, maybe it's time to go and rework your product, because if it is worth it, customers will keep on buying. And if you're still not sure, then I suggest you go out and see The Lion King on Broadway. It's as good today as it was when I first saw the show back in 1999. And you know how I know that for sure? Because it's the exact same damn show. Take a lesson from The Lion King. Take a lesson from all of Broadway. We love Broadway. Make sure your product is good enough that people can see it and use it and they want it over and over and over again. And you will do very, very well. I want to know what you guys think. Get me on LinkedIn at John Davids. On Twitter, I'm Real John Davids. You can get all my socials at johndavids.com, and I will talk to you guys next time.